Some stuff on deck. If we can get TradingView to play ball with what I'm trying to accomplish with having a symmetrical Renko custom bar type for the desktop platform version, I'll have info on that by the end of the week. But for right here, right now, we got everything ready to go. Outputs on the diamonds, outputs on the triangles. I'm going to be adding some additional outputs for the prop firm scalping group. Stuff they have told me they would like to add to the tool. One of them will probably add an output or clarify it more, like where is the moving average that's reading the indicator in relation to the upper and lower dotted line, since that could be used as either a filter or a primary mechanism to trigger a long trade or trigger a short trade. So that will be incorporated too. But anyhow, if you have any questions ever on anything, you can always send an email to the prop firm scalping group at info@propfirmscalping.com. But I really wanted to go into the tools, some information about why they're built the way they are, why they're different from same old stuff that's out there, and why everything was packaged together the way it was. It's kind of has two primary roles right away as a system use. Trading, out of the open or during, the primary parts of the day, you like to maybe trade gold in the Asian and London session. There is settings on gold where you can trade from signal to signal to signal, just like one and maybe a little of another one, and you'd be easily done every day. Gold is a monster, and CL lately has been fantastic. I can find all kinds of time frames and beautiful settings. This step indicator where I take the guts, or I take the look, it's kind of like, indicators are kind of like the body of a car. The body of the car might look like the body of many other cars, but what's the engine and what's the suspension? That's the key. The engine is the math. The suspension is other filtering math you put inside. That's about then how does it handle driving around reading price. That's the key. If you can get the math right, you can make, something that would typically be looking like old school math, aged old school lagging indicator, and you can make it pretty darn responsive and then very workable to be a primary mechanism to signal trade entry. And with tools like Traders Post, I can take these signals and I can go in Traders Post and draw off the outputs or the alerts on either a diamond, a triangle, and turn them into automated functionality and trade automated. And you can have TradingView connected to TradeSync, Trade Copier. You can run your third-party enabled automation off your TradingView desktop chart. You can have AI constantly looking at everything you're doing and coming up with additional optimization or strategy ideas. And you can talk out your primary chart, trade activity off to TradeSync. So what you're doing here is happening on your follower accounts. So, I have not ever been a big AI guy, but in the last 2 months, what I've seen some 20-somethings do on Poly Market and a few other markets, and most of them are doing it, or a lot of them are doing it on TradingView now. They were doing it with other platforms. They're doing it on TradingView has been just amazing, just very eye-opening. And the speed at which I can optimize stuff now that I can't do that on any other platform. No platform can touch taking some tools and having AI look at it with optimization tasks. There's nothing out there in the retail realm that can equal what I've put together now, and just following what I've seen others have done. So this is kind of a new realm, taking a platform. Yeah, the web browser version's okay. I like the desktop version, and the desktop version is the one that connects to Claude AI. So it's like we're just getting warmed up. And I'm going to move as much as my automated trading over to TradingView as I see the reliability there, and have that ongoing AI analysis of all the trading operations to continually have, AI to me is almost like having a different set of eyeballs and mindsets looking at stuff from different perspectives than, when a person's looking at stuff that they built, they tend to only be looking at it a few ways because that's just their filtering. But AI doesn't care about that. AI doesn't have that filtering. It's willing to look way outside of the box and see things that you're not necessarily going to see as to how to utilize or adjust the tool settings to target different types of price movements. And if I can get those symmetrical Renkos in TradingView, even if I can only read 1 second data, I've already used an indicator that reads uptick downtick bias, and I was actually surprised. I can still read the bias pretty good, even just on 1 second data. That would be amazing, because then I can add another capability to the overall approach, and I can have AI go and see if the harmonics and the ratios of the uptick downtick bias that I'm on, that AI might find harmonics of these very linear price movements in a different direction than I'm currently looking at, to have another mechanism to go target high momentum price movements with very tight stop based bracketed trade entries, because these linear price movements are everywhere. I can actually hand trade these. I'm used to seeing what I need to see, and especially if I'm watching the dome a little bit, when I'm watching price, there's a certain pattern to it, and I never see it in order flow. But when I started, I'm like, I bet you I can see that in uptick downtick. Right away I saw it. It's like, okay, now I see that. Now I need to find a way to crunch the data and see, what is the ratio, what is the harmonics of that, where I get the song is as perfect as possible to take advantage and jump into these very linear price movements, fully automated. And wow, do they happen in gold and oil? I mean, they're happening here in NQ, MNQ, but wow, they're all over the place in gold and oil right now. So, and they're in FX too. And for the crypto guys, they're in crypto. They're all over in crypto too. So there you have it. If you have any questions, info@propfirmscalping.com. A lot of additional webinar type series, continuation of this, getting into a lot more trade setups and different ways to use the tools for additional different trade setup capabilities. Okay, have a fantastic day, and thanks for all the questions as this stuff has been launched, and keep them coming, and we'll keep training as we get questions on stuff that we're not thinking of. We'll make sure that we put some training series together to cover, whether it's Traders Post use or Claude AI. That stuff's already in works, but as you get exposed to more of the training and you have questions, just let us know. Have a fantastic day, and we'll talk to you later.